A lot of you are wondering what's going on with DBM at midnight. Let me show you. First of all, DBM has already been updated to be fully compatible with today's pre-patch, and tomorrow for you EU friends. All you have to do is get the latest version from either CurseForge, which is 12.0.12, or Wago, same version. You can also use your updater app, install it automatically, and make sure you have 12.0.12 or later. In addition, you'll also want to have DBM Dungeons revision 2.2.3 or later to have all the latest support for the current dungeon pool. Even though the season's over, people are still going to be running dungeons to, test their UIs out, as well as test DBM out. So you want to have the dungeon mod ready to go. There are still some known issues with delves. I haven't quite touched them up yet. They'll work, but you might see double timers and stuff. There'll be continuous updates throughout the coming days and weeks as we lead up to the main event, the expansion launch. But we're ready to go now. And what happens the first time you log in with DBM? You're going to get presented with a pop-up that looks like this. You're going to see this on login, and it's going to ask you, what do you want to use? DBM bars? Or Blizzard features? Or even both? Both is an option. You could choose to not use DBM at all and use Blizzard features, or you could choose to use only DBM, or both. Now, even if you choose to use the Blizzard features, DBM still does do things that the base UI doesn't, and I'll get into all of what you get with DBM and without, starting right now. First, I'm going to show you what the experience looks like if you don't have DBM at all. I'm going to show you the full Blizzard experience on this test dummy. Now, mind you, retail servers are offline right now in maintenance. I can't show you good detailed stuff. There's some stuff I can't show you. I can only use this test dummy that they have in beta. And this test dummy has two glaring flaws. One, it doesn't show you medium warnings at all. They only coded in minor and critical. And two, it has no private auras, which I'll get into later in this video. So I can't show either of those features on this boss. But I can show you boss timers, non-critical warnings, and critical warnings. Just no medium warnings. So here we go. This is the Blizzard experience, no DBM. A timeline of ability casts. Here's their warning. That's a low priority warning. Well, this boss does have a medium priority spell. He's about to cast it now, but they forgot to put a warning in for it. So I can't show you their medium warning. Now he's about to cast his big critical spell. That's Blizzard's critical warning. And that's basically Blizzard's boss mod. Like in its full, that's everything it can do. It can be customized a bit in Blizzard options. Under gameplay enhancements, you could choose to show all warnings, only medium and only critical, or higher. I showed all warnings just to show you everything. You can also hide when not targeted. And then the timeline abilities, you can customize that a bit. That's the Blizzard boss mod. Now I'm going to pull the same boss again. Using DBM's features. Now, instead of timeline, get a bar. Now, because the medium warning is missing from the API, it's also missing from DBM because we still use the internal API. So I can't show you that.
Don't die.
And that's DBM. Now, what's the advantage of DBM over the built-in? Well, the biggest advantage is going to be the fact you can actually change the sounds. Medium priority, maximum priority, which I have a Sourfang Don't Die as a troll. And announcements, this is where the non-critical sounds are controlled. You can also configure the font, the style, the size. You basically can configure it to much greater depth then the built-in warnings, which is basically on or off. And it has some basic filters that Blizzard has. But for this, you get full customization. And in addition, if you have the bar style, which I'm going to show a test mod. Now note you're going to see something else interesting with these bars. Some of these bars have an area like this. What that means is it's a variance timer where Blizzard, the API, tells the boss mod that spell can queue up to X seconds after. So for example, Blizzard is saying that spell can queue for 5 seconds before it's cast. These spells will be cast instantly when the bar hits 0. But bars with that gray area, Blizzard is notifying you via the API that the spell has a cooldown window where after it comes off cooldown, it might not cast immediately. It might wait up to 3 more seconds or up to 8 more seconds or whatever the spell queue time is. Now, Blizzard hasn't been perfect with that API yet. Some spells they have mislabeled as having a spell queue when they don't have one. And other spells that do have spell queues are marked as not having one. So it's like, it's up to Blizzard for accuracy. I have no control over that. So when spell queues are incorrect, that's something that has to be reported to Blizzard, not me. I'm just showing what they're telling me. Now, what else do you get from DBM that the base doesn't get? You still get boss stats, which I don't have any on beta. I can't show you stats because I'm on beta and realms are down. But you're still going to know how many times you pull a boss, how many times you wiped, how many times you killed it, on what difficulty. DBM's still going to track all of that. In addition, here's what you get from DBM that you don't get from the base UI. Private auras. Blizzard, as promised, like I talked about in my Ian interview in a previous video, which you can find on this channel as well, is that they were going to add a way to register sounds to debuffs via their API, which decided to use private auras because they'd already existed instead of reinventing the wheel. Makes sense. And with that, you'll still get the VDM lady that tells you to watch your feet when you're standing in bad. That's right, GTFO is not dead. And yeah, there is DBM doing GTFO warnings either. We just gotta use this API to do it. You register a spell, you can set a custom sound, and that sound will play anytime you're affected by that spell via the private aura API. This is something you can't do currently with the stock UI. So you might be wondering, why would Blizzard add this then? Doesn't this counterintuitive to what their goals are? Well, as discussed in my previous interview with Ian, they recognize that accessibility is still a big concern with World of Warcraft, especially with those with visual impairments or audible impairments. And one thing they agreed with when we talked with Ian was that they don't find a problem with registering a sound to a mechanic so long as you can't do anything computational. For example, I could have this play a sound when you're the bomb, but that sound's not going to tell you, take your bomb to the left or take your bomb to the right, because it still doesn't know who else has the bomb and where you'd be assigned or anything like that. It can't do auto assignments or problem solving. It can just tell you, you're the bomb, and that's it. So they're okay with that. They're okay with add-ons having the ability to register a sound to a mechanic, so long as the control of which mechanics that you can do that with is in their hands, and you can't solve them. You can't see who else has the mechanic. They made sure of that. They broke macros. They broke add-on comms. They broke chat comms. They broke icons. They broke many other degenerate workarounds that Relo reported, like pinging the minimap, or setting an AFK flag, typing /AFK while you're in the raid to notify the rest of the raid you have a debuff. Like, we add-on authors have reported all the possible workarounds we can think of to Blizzard, and they're patching them very rapidly to ensure that computational stuff can't happen. And as long as you can't be computational, basic things like just registering a custom sound is tolerable. They're okay with it. And not just with the War Within pre-patch, but they've also added over 400 private auras for Midnight content too. All the Season 1 dungeons, the Season 1 raids, they all have private auras, so you're gonna have custom audio for a lot of mechanics. They'll be available to add-ons like DBM, probably Northern Sky Tools, Bigwigs, whatever add-ons support it, and it's whatever ability is Blizzard flagged. Blizzard decides what abilities get this feature. So some bosses might only have 2 abilities, 4 or 5. You get a boss like this or this, and they put a lot of private auras in there. Like when you pull Dementius on Mythic, you're gonna have a lot of custom sounds still. And you're gonna notice there are no timer options here. Currently, Blizzard has not given us the ability to control which timers you see yet. As I talked about in the previous Ian interview video, that is something that they want to do in a future patch, but it doesn't look like it's ready yet. So we don't have the ability to toggle which abilities are seen. So currently, the way the timeline works is we're going to show all timers that Blizzard sends us. And it's pretty much all or nothing. You either get all timers or no timers. Just whatever Blizzard sends us, we get. And that's the state of DBM right now. I don't have too much to show or add to that right now because, like I said, realms are down. I can't really do thorough demos. I can only use this test dummy rather than run an actual dungeon. But you should follow this channel. You should follow my Twitch. Follow me on X, because I've been live streaming all my development work on DBM and showing my work on it live as well as my testing of it live. So if you want to see DBM in action, just follow all my socials and streaming platforms and even this channel here on YouTube, and you're going to see me going live probably immediately after I record this video, to be honest. I'll upload this video and I'll probably be going live almost right away. So do that and you'll get lots more info, and you can have conversations with me about add-on get-in as we go into this journey together. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.